Hello and welcome to episode number 48. Let's try this again. I tried it earlier and it didn't work. So, today's episode is what is the past? And so, what's interesting is what I've realized that I've been spending some time in the past lately, in my past. And it's nothing new that when you are living in the past, um, well, you're not in the future or you're not in the present. And so it's often this thing that shows up. Um, Thank you again for joining me. This thing that shows up is that we end up spending all this time in the past, which doesn't actually usually create more. You can sometimes get awarenesses by looking at past situations and so on, but often what we do is we spend a lot of time in the past, which doesn't allow us to create our current life and actually create for the future. And so it's kind of been showing up in my life, and it also has been showing up in clients. And so I thought I'd kind of just talk about it today. And so, what's interesting, one of the things that you can play with is to destroy and uncreate your past every day. And when you destroy and uncreate your past, you tend to just get rid of all the stuff that you've been holding onto that may not actually be any use to you at all. And it also creates the space for you to choose something else. So I actually do that every single day myself. I destroy and uncreate my past. And so it's been interesting then also looking at like how much your past actually holds you in place in your past, and it doesn't allow you to create your future. So it's really interesting. Like, even if you have like past memories or situations, you go back to those memories and you're like, oh, do you remember the past? Like, that was so amazing. That was so great. You remember that memory or whatever it was. And you don't allow your life to actually get better beyond that memory. Because in your world, that was the best time ever. And so you lock yourself into that past memory, that past event, or whatever it was, and you will never allow yourself to actually go beyond that and create more and create something even better than that going forward. And so it's really interesting to be aware of that, and just to be aware of what that actually creates in your world and how much change you can actually create in your world by not living in the past. And it may sound like something so simple, but a lot of people put so much emphasis on our past. Like we talk about things that have happened to us, stories that have happened to us, experiences that have happened to us in the past. And again, those are things that happened in the past and never stays in the future. And it seems like my internet is not playing ball with me today, but I will continue and see how this goes. And what's interesting is how much that changes your current life, and how much you can change your current life by not allowing those past events and those past situations to create something greater today. So if you didn't hold on to them and you didn't make them the most important thing in your life, and if you were able to destroy and uncreate that, what could that create for you? What kind of space could that create for you if you didn't hold on to the past? And it may be like a past relationship. It may be something, again, a past experiences that you did, or that something happened, and you just keep on replaying that experience over and over and over again. So what you're doing is you're bringing that into the present, and you're locking it in and you don't allow anything to change. And the crazy thing is, we change all the time. We never ever stay the same. So when you're trying to constantly bring something into your life and make it stay the same, one, it takes a tremendous amount of work and energy. And two, it doesn't actually fit with who you are and how you actually are in this world. You're constantly changing. We're constantly changing. Everything is constantly changing. Literally, nothing ever stays the same. And you can look in the past to just give you a sense of what that is. You look at the history, you look back in the world, and it is constantly this changing. It's never ever the same. It's never like it was before, ever. Nature never stays the same. Nature is constantly changing. You have different seasons, you have things growing, you have life, you have death. It's a constant change. It never ever stays the same. If you go out in nature one day and then the next day it's different. Sometimes there's snow on the ground, sometimes there isn't. There's water on the ground, whatever. There's all these different changes that happen all the time. Nature's not the same ever. It's constantly changing. As are you, as are we all. And so when we try to lock in something that to try to keep it the same, it really, really takes a tremendous amount of effort. And the interesting thing is, not only does it take a lot of effort, but the cool thing is when you recognize the brilliance you are to be able to keep something in your life for that long, permanently locked in, the story that you keep on telling, something that you bring in from your past and you keep it there, like to be able to keep it there in an ever-changing world and an ever-changing you is actually amazing. That takes a tremendous amount of effort. It takes a tremendous amount of determination to keep it locked in. It's actually easier to not keep it, to let go of it, and not to have the past run your future or run your present life. And so when you start looking at it from that perspective, any story that you've locked in, anything that you keep on bringing back, it's like lugging this thing. It's like, no, this is staying with me no matter what. Just look at that and see if it's actually creating the future you would like to create. Maybe it's time to choose something different. Maybe it is time to actually choose the greater you and choose beyond your current limitation. Choose beyond what you've currently been choosing as your current situation from the past. So it's really interesting how we spend all this time trying to keep things from changing when really that's not who we are. So what if you're actually willing to see what it would be like to not hold on to anything in the past, and when things show up, to choose something different, and to become aware of the things that you are choosing that limit you, and the things that you keep on bringing from the past, and the stories that you keep on telling yourselves. And it's crazy, like there can be things that you tell yourself that are totally untrue, and yet you keep on telling them to yourself, and you keep on trying to make them true when they're not. So it's also all these untruths, which are essentially these lies that we keep on bringing in, that we picked up somewhere. Even maybe somebody told you something. Oh, you were always like this, or you're always like that, and then you buy that as real, and it may not be real. It may not be actually who you are. It may not be actually something that contributes to you. And so we get clear about what actually works for us, and just really looking at, okay, so now that I'm aware of this, what would I like to choose? What else is possible? What limitations can I go beyond? And can I out-create myself? And it's really asking yourself, can you be greater than you today than you were yesterday, or the day before, or the day before, or the day before? What if you could just choose to be a greater version of you? What if you could just choose to be greater? And what could that look like? And how much ease would that give you? And how much more choice would that give you? Yeah, we hurt ourselves a lot actually by choosing against ourselves. Um, and often um, it is this place where we go into these ideas that we have that we think are true, and they're not really true. Again, it's really playing with honoring yourself as to what you want to create in the world, and realizing that not everyone's going to see the same thing as you see. In fact, many times most people won't actually see what you see. And you can have these like crazy ideas that you're super excited about, and you tell people and they think it's the stupidest thing in the world, and so then you don't choose it because they think it's stupid. Yet for you it's actually super exciting. So it is really that choosing for you, not looking, not holding anything back, not allowing anything to hold you back, and really see what can show up. And it's really following the energy of that excitement. And it's so funny because you can have these like super exciting moments, and you go share it with someone, and they just kill the excitement. They have no excitement. They're like, no, basically. And what if you could just keep on choosing? What if you could just keep on choosing what works for you, despite what anyone else thinks? And you're not going against anyone in this situation. You're just choosing for you and what works for you. And anyone else in your life or anything around you can still choose what they'd like to choose. They can still choose to not support your idea in any sort of way, and they can choose to try to kill it all the way along. That's still their choice. And you get to choose what you want to choose, however insane it may seem to you. Because really, most people that actually truly change the world were considered insane. Their ideas were considered like completely out of the ordinary. And so when you start looking at this and you start realizing, wow, really a lot of amazing things that happen in the world, a lot of amazing things that actually people created, most everyone thought was impossible, except a few people, or just one person knew something was possible, didn't know how they could do it. They just knew it was possible, and they just started moving towards it, and then they created something completely different in the world. And that's when the magic happens. And are you willing to be that? And really, the brilliance of you is magic. We are so capable, we're so aware, we have really so many skills that we don't even acknowledge. Instead, we try to live in the past and make ourselves wrong for everything. So it's really acknowledging the brilliance of you and what you'd like to choose and what that choice can create in the world. And when you actually go there and you actually play with it, and you are in curiosity of yourself and of everything, that's when you basically can change anything, and you can make things happen way quicker than you ever thought. And so that's my invitation to you. Play with it. Destroy your past. Destroy and uncreate your past. See what you can create in your future if you didn't have this luggage that you're carrying with you. If you could just be the lightness and space of you, what else is possible in the moment? And what can you create for the future, for now and the future? And how much fun can you have doing it? So thank you everyone for coming along on this journey today. And I hope you have an awesome week and an awesome weekend. And what else is possible? And I will see you again next week. Have an awesome time. Bye.